Forging time! So here's the deal, I meant to forge stuff today, but the weather decided it wanted to rain me out. But I'm not going to let the rain beat me anymore. I'm just going to do it inside. I don't want to set up my forge in here because I don't have like a chimney to take the heat out, and I really don't have great ventilation. I mean, I can open the door, but any of the heat gets trapped right there. And like I can touch the wood ceiling, so I don't want it to catch fire. So I'm going to scale things back a little bit. I'm going to try using this rod, which I have. It's a pretty small rod for the material, and forge it into a hook, which I've heard is a pretty simple beginner's project because it requires you to, like, you know, make a nice taper and kind of some curvy bits, some basic stuff. I've never forged before, so I'm going to start basic. And for heat, I'm going to use my plumber's torch. I don't know if anyone's used a plumber's torch for forging before, but I'm going to try, and I hope I don't run out of MAP gas. So here's a bit more of my setup. I got this railroad track thing. I have not done anything to it. It's mostly flat in this dimension. It's kind of curved a bit in this dimension. This is my aluminum bronze hammer, which I handled recently better. And the face is a little dinged up because I was using it to drive some steel, hardened steel punches. That was a bad idea. It really screwed up my framing hammer too. But this will be the first like forging that we're going to do. We're going to start with this end. Now this is a pretty small rod. It's mild steel. I don't know how big that is. 3/16 maybe. This isn't very hot, but this isn't very big. And when you have a small surface area like this, you have a very, very small amount of material. So it should heat up pretty quick. It'll cool off a lot quicker because as the thing gets smaller, the surface area goes down a certain amount, but the volume inside actually goes down like by the eighth of it, the eighth power or something. So it's like an exponential thing. You know, the bigger, I can double the diameter, and that'll double the circumference, double the surface area, but it'll like give me 8 times the volume or something like that. I don't really know the figures, but I know volume scales to some power of the surface area. I really don't know. I'm going to stop talking about math. Math isn't the deal, but it's like the reason why cells are tiny, because the bigger cells, like body cells, the bigger the cells get, the bigger the volume gets to the square of the surface area, and then you can't get enough nutrients into the smaller surface area to keep the cell. This isn't biology, this is forging. So, okay, less yak. Basically, I'm going to start by trying to forge this out into a taper. And then I'm going to curve it around the edge here to try to make a hook. You know what a hook looks like. I'm going to need a bunch of these for a future project that's coming up, not next or the one after that, but like a few projects down the road. I'm going to need a bunch of hooks. So I got a bunch of this. Let's try to make one. Okay, so the reason I'm using a little plumber's torch is because I don't want to burn my garage down. This little torch has enough heat, if you can hear me, to heat this rod up to about orange hot. I gave it a test before on another rod. And orange should be hot enough, I would hope. Yeah, starting to glow. Alright, first hammerings. Cool, it's starting to taper. I can see it. It works. Man, this thing cools off so fast. Hammer's not looking too bad though. Trying to make a tip on there. Yeah, see, it's getting tapered more. More taperier. Needs more, though. I apologize to real blacksmiths for this. But I gotta work with what I have. Alright, I think that's about as much taper as I need. Now I'm going to try to do the hook. The hook shape on the end. And I remember the hook that I got from SW Dweeb, it had like, you know, the normal hook thing. That's not focus. The hook thing, and then on the end there was another tiny hook thing. So I'm going to try to make the tiny one first. I don't know why, I'm just going to do it that way. Okay, let's see. Is that working? Kind of made a hook. Okay, another heat. I think this is so that you don't have a little sharp hook on the end to hurt all your stuff. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was going for. Cool. Now I'm going to make the hook bend the other way. This bends that way. I'm going to make the big hook go the opposite direction. Cool. I like that. Yeah, it's making hook shapes. Okay, let's get a bit of a reverse curve going here. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I want. Want a hook like that to put a coat on. Cool. Now the one I got from SW Dweeb also had like, it went up a ways and then it had a section that kind of fanned out and then he cut it off. So I'm going to try to do that like here-ish. Just pound it with the small end of the hammer and see if I can just kind of widen that out a bit. Make like a flat smudgy area. I don't know what it's called. It's where I welded the other one on. That isn't working. And trying again. Yeah, it's spreading out a little bit, but not a lot. Yeah, that's widening out. Cool, except I mangled this shape. Get it nice and warm and pliable. Straighten that out. Yeah. Man, this tiny stuff cools down really quick. But check it out, hook. Hook with a reverse thing on the end. Cool. And then I can hang it off of this. I'll just cut it off here. I don't have a cutting tool for like, seen people like forge cut things on like a hardy tool thing, but I don't have any of that, so I'll just angle grinder this off and then try to make a few extras. And in no way am I upset that this curve here looks kind of malformed, but what do you expect? It'll still hold a coat, I think. Success! It holds the coat! It holds the coat! Okay, inauspicious start here, starting small, and I'm going to need like 10 more of these for the project that I have in mind. I'll make them later, and I haven't actually made the rest of the project, but I wanted to forge something today, and here it is, a nasty looking hook, but the hook works, and I made the hook. This is the first thing I've ever forged. I don't think I've ever successfully first tried done something that cool before, so that's neat. And if you're ever wondering, can a newbie forge something on a railroad track with a plumber's torch? Yes. Turns out yes. Now imagine if I was any good at this, I could do some pretty cool stuff, I think. And it was so quick, I didn't even take a sip of my tea. It's not very hot anymore, but that's fine. Ooh, hammer. People were wondering whether or not this aluminum bronze hammer could hold up to forging. Now, aluminum bronze is a lot tougher than brass. In many ways, it's nearly as strong as steel. It has near the tensile strength of steel and some steels. And it work hardens quite a bit. But the face of this was already pretty screwed up from using the steel punches. But, I mean, it's dirty. It's dirty, but it doesn't look any more damaged. So I'm going to keep using it, see what happens. The back, which I didn't work harden as much because I wasn't using it, did get a little bit marred from trying to pound that thing flat. So maybe I'll try to touch that up a little bit, do a little more work hardening. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the face of this. So the face is already, like I said, already a little screwed up. But I'm going to try forging some really, really thicker stuff. I have some railroad spikes. I'm going to try forging some thick stuff with that, and I'll do some real good swinging and give it a real test and report back. So, time will tell. And there we have it. From this discarded piece of scrap from a washing machine, I have made a hook. A simple hook. So the idea with this is, see that flat spot? Well, that will be welded onto a thing along with many, many other hooks. Now this is pretty tiny. I showed my wife. The first thing she said was, make them bigger. I think, well, okay, yes. Thank you very much for recognizing the accomplishment. Am I right? This is a bit darker than originally. I think this might have had a coating on there or something. But I did not treat this. Now there are things you can do like linseed oil and other finishes and whatever. But I'm going to do none of those because I plan to weld this onto another thing. But there you go, a hook with a taper, a curve, a dinky little curve thingy, and a flat dealie up here to make weld good. I can speak words.